CES 2022 has come and gone, and it was a weird one. That's due to the ongoing pandemic, which caused the likes of Google and Lenovo, among other large companies, to pull out at the last minute, and in turn, many attendees to not come as well. But the show did go on, and we saw a ton of great devices at the event. Of course, we also saw some not so great devices. Interested in cutting through the junk? I'm Christian here with BGR, and the CTA flew me to CES 2022 to check out some of the coolest new devices. Here's the coolest tech that we found at CES 2022. Starting with TVs. TVs are always an important fixture of CES, and this year was no exception to that rule. Perhaps the most interesting of the new TVs is the new Sony A95K. Why? Well, it's the first TV to feature the new quantum dot OLED technology, often referred to as QD OLED. QD OLED essentially offers the best of OLED and LED TVs. That's because QD OLED displays only feature blue OLED compounds. Other colors are created with a quantum dot layer on top of the OLED layer. The result is that you get the deep black levels and high contrast often associated with OLED panels, along with the bright, vibrant colors associated with LED panels. The display panel on the A95K is actually developed by Samsung Display, which is technically a separate entity from Samsung Electronics. The Sony A95K will go on sale later this year, and while we don't have pricing just yet, you can expect to pay an arm and a leg for it. Speaking of paying a lot, LG also released some new OLED TVs, one of which is the largest OLED LG has ever made. The new TV is part of LG's G2 OLED series and comes in at a whopping 97 inches. That should be large enough for even the larger living rooms out there. But you don't have to go big. LG also released its smallest OLED to date, part of the C2 OLED series. That TV is 42 inches, so it should fit right at home in even the smaller living rooms out there. Both TVs will be available later this year, and again, we don't have exact pricing for them just yet. So far, we've really only covered the extremes of TV technology at CES 2022, but if you just want a great TV at a reasonable price, then Hisense is worth checking out. The company released a number of mini LED TVs at the event, but I think the best of those is the new Hisense U8H TV. The U8H falls in the center of Hisense's new mini LED TVs. It offers a little higher brightness than the lowest end of those, and it's quite a bit cheaper than the highest end. The TV comes with Google TV and starts at about $1,100 for the base model, which is 55 inches. There are 65-inch and 75-inch models available though. All of those will be available in the summer. While technically not a TV, Samsung did show off an interesting display, the new Samsung Odyssey Arc. The Odyssey Arc is a computer monitor that's huge and curved. Let me tell you, it was extremely impressive to see in person. The monitor is a whopping 55 inches with a 16:9 aspect ratio, and it can be turned on its side depending on what you want to use it for. There's still plenty we don't know about the Odyssey Arc though, like how much it'll cost and exactly when it'll be released to the public. Samsung has said that it's planning on releasing the monitor in the second half of 2022, though we'll have to wait and see if that happens. TVs, of course, weren't the only thing we saw at CES. We also saw some awesome smart home gadgets. One of those that I'm most excited about is the new Eve Cam Outdoor. The Eve Cam Outdoor is essentially a HomeKit secure video enabled camera that is built to be outdoors. It's aimed at offering a solid image quality with night vision and a built-in floodlight at a reasonable price. Speaking of price, you'll be able to get it for $250 later this year. Next up is something slightly more interesting: the Labrador Retriever Bot. The Retriever Bot is built for those with chronic pain or other issues that prevent them from being able to move around the house easily. It works through a touch screen or a mobile app and lets the user get items delivered to them throughout the day. Having seen the device in person, it's pretty futuristic. You may not need a robot to roam around your house, but you might well need something that can tie your smart home devices together. That's Homey's mission. The new Homey Bridge is built to connect to all of your smart home devices and allow you to control them within one easy-to-use app. The system is cloud-based, so it won't necessarily work if the internet goes down, but it offers excellent automation control and is billing itself as a privacy-first system. The Homey Bridge will be available in February for $69, and Homey offsets that low cost by charging a $2.99 subscription fee for any users that use more than 5 smart home devices at a time. So what kinds of devices can you connect to Homey? Well, eventually you could connect TP-Link's new Tarpo devices. TP-Link has long been known for its Casa smart home devices in the US, but it's now launching a second smart home brand called Tarpo. The new Tarpo brand offers devices like switches, bulbs, and cameras, plus it supports HomeKit and other smart home ecosystems. Unfortunately, Tarpo won't work very well with other TP-Link devices that you might already have in the home, and you'll have to download a new app. But TP-Link says it's exploring ways to allow Casa and Tapo devices to work together. Now, perhaps you're not that interested in smart home, but maybe you're into fitness tracking. Wearables in general seem to take a bit of a back seat at the event, but we still saw some solid devices. For example, there's the new Garmin Venue 2 Plus. The Venue 2 Plus is Garmin's highest-end smartwatch to date, and adds 2 new features to the original Venue 2. A microphone and a speaker. These allow you to do things like make phone calls, talk to your digital assistant, and more. Of course, you'll also get all the other features available in the original Venue 2, like notifications, fitness tracking, and so on. The Garmin Venue 2 Plus is now available for $450. Now, while wearables took a back seat at CES 2022, computers did not. We saw a ton of interesting and powerful new laptops at the event, like, for example, the new Dell XPS 13 Plus. Now, Dell itself was not at the event, but I did get a chance to see the XPS 13 Plus in person before CES 2022. The XPS 13 Plus takes the XPS 13 in general and gives it a more stylish look. The new keyboard bed is completely flat, and the XPS 13 Plus does away with touchpad markings altogether. Ports on the device may be limited, but the general design of it is extremely stylish. Now, some may not love the new capacitive function keys, but we'll have to wait and see how those perform in real life. The laptop has yet to ship to the public, but it'll be available in the spring. Pricing has yet to be announced. For something a little more wacky, it's worth looking at the new Lenovo ThinkBook Plus Gen 3. The ThinkBook Plus Gen 3 is a 17-inch laptop with one thing that sets it apart from the rest: an 8-inch touch display that sits next to the keyboard. That touch screen can be used to mirror your Motorola smartphone or to extend the display of the actual computer. It's a neat idea, though obviously not everyone will be able to make use of it. The ThinkBook Plus Gen 3 will be available to the public starting in May, with a base price of $1,399. Now, if you really want something futuristic, it's worth looking at ASUS's new computer. The device is basically a huge 17-inch folding tablet, and allows you to use an external Bluetooth keyboard or the bottom half as a keyboard when it's in folded mode. Under the hood, it offers 16GB of RAM along with 12th generation Intel Core processors. The ZenBook Fold 17 doesn't yet have a specific price or release date, but ASUS says it's aiming to release it around Computex in May. Car tech was huge at CES 2022 this year. We saw a range of new electric vehicles from various different companies, both traditional car makers and tech companies. For example, we saw the new Sony Vision S2. Now, the most interesting thing about the Sony Vision S2 isn't necessarily the car itself, but more what it represents. At its press conference, Sony not only announced the new concept car, but it also announced that it was exploring ways to release its cars to the public. That's through the newly established Sony Mobility Incorporated. We'll have to wait and see if and when that actually happens, but if it does, it could be an interesting addition to the car landscape in general. Now, one car that likely will be released to the public is the new Chevrolet Equinox EV. The Equinox EV is a relatively well-designed EV that's built to start at a lower price point than most EVs currently can. It starts at around $30,000, which makes it one of the cheaper EVs available to date, and makes them more accessible in general. That said, you may have to wait a while to get access to it. Chevrolet says the Equinox EV will be available to the public starting in fall 2023. Now, one technology that may never come to the public is BMW's new color changing technology, though it's cool nonetheless. BMW showed off a new e-ink technology that allows its cars to actually change color on the go. The tech is currently grayscale, but it lets users change the car's color and even create new designs. BMW describes it as an advanced research and design project, so it may never see the light of day in a consumer car. Still, it was pretty cool to look at. Chrysler had a concept car of its own, called the new Chrysler Airflow. The Chrysler Airflow concept car is an EV that boasts an excellent 400-mile range. That's along with level 3 autonomous driving capabilities. It may be some time before we see a car like this on the road though. Chrysler says it's aiming to release its first EV by 2025, firmly putting it behind the competition. Still, it's better late than never, and we're looking forward to checking out the Chrysler Airflow in person. Now, there's another piece of tech at CES 2022 that didn't quite fit into any of the other categories, but perhaps it's best in the EV spot. That's the new John Deere self-driving tractor. Now, you wouldn't have guessed it, but the self-driving tractor is actually very interesting. John Deere showed off the new self-driving tractor at its press conference at the event, and it essentially allows farmers to drive the tractor to a field and then let it till the field on its own. It could save farmers countless hours of time, which in turn helps them increase profits. John Deere says it's exploring ways to bring autonomous technology to its other vehicles, though we'll have to wait and see how long it takes for that to happen. Thanks so much for watching. Again, this is Christian with BGR, and make sure to head to bgr.com for more CES news and reviews. See ya!